Welcome back, everybody, for what is arguably the most hyped matchup of the event so far, Nua. It's the big one. Boz versus Epos, a tale as old as time. We've seen it so many times before, but this time they have teammates in Jaden and Divino. And does that introduce a bit more volatility into the equation?
I mean, inarguably, right? The fact that there are more players who can do things in the match and affect how scoring does go is going to shift things up. With that said, I mean, Geese Can Fly, as you said, is made. Oh, is it the Bozbez team featuring Jadon? And frankly, yesterday was the Jadon team featuring Bozbez.
Yeah.
Jadon was definitely playing incredibly well yesterday.
Yeah, have to say, like, there were a few moments where Bozbez was not in Robo-Boz mode, as we've seen so many times before. I was saying to Padster, though, when has he ever underperformed? Like, genuinely. Can you think of a time where he has properly underperformed for the entire duration of a tournament? Like, maybe he's had wobbles, but then he's come back. The only time I could think of was when he played on pad. That was it.
Yes, yeah, sure. I think it's just that Boz doesn't play tournaments if he doesn't think he's going to do well.
I suppose.
He simply does not show up, which is, hey, fair enough. He works that out in advance and is like, no, I won't have enough time to prac, or I don't like the maps, and simply doesn't.
Yeah.
So that helps with the aura of invincibility as well. And he's here, so he obviously feels there's something to prove on this one. And definitely they can look good. And I think that's in some ways almost scarier for that team that Jadon was looking so good yesterday, that there is room for that team to very clearly grow, because we know that Boz can perform above the level that he was playing at yesterday. With Jadon looking as good as he is, turns that team into an absolutely terrifying threat for everyone else.
I mean, on the flip side, we have Epos, who we have seen match or just about exceed Boz on several occasions now. But then we have Divino as well. We talked about him on the panel. We talked about the clutch ups yesterday.
Yep.
Does that continue, or do we see kind of the same Divino? What are you expecting to see from Epos and Divino here?
I'm thinking that it's potentially going to be a little bit harder to have those clutch moments, because as I kind of said on the desk at the top of the day, like, yes, they were getting the aces, but there was a lot of those aces where it was first place for Epos and then second place is Divino, kind of 8/10ths down.
Yeah.
I just don't think, as I said earlier, that those second places with 8/10ths of a gap to first are going to be second places in this match. And if all of a sudden you're not getting those aces, all of a sudden that's a third or a fourth place, and it's either, a round win or a draw, but the other team are fully capable of taking it to Epos as well. It's going to be a little bit scarier. With that said, though, I also think Divino drove really well yesterday. I'm hoping
so
that he can kind of carry some of the confidence from some of those performances, because, was told to push by Epos towards the end of some rounds and had some of the most successful pushes we have seen of the tournament so far as a result. Hopefully able to carry that confidence through and kind of do the same things again. Start to drive those good rounds and risk when he needs to risk.
I mean, we've looked at both sides of the coin now, right?
Yep.
Is there a clear favourite here for you?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
3-2 then?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
To who? But I guess you don't know.
No. I refuse to tell you.
Okay.
Look, I do kind of think Geese Can Fly are maybe slightly favoured. I do just think...
Yeah, I'm leaning that way, for sure.
The package of Jadon looking so good and Boz being Boz, probably able to kind of clean things up if necessary today as well. And to, saying clean things up, it's not like Boz drove poorly yesterday by any means at all. It was just, as you said, not quite Robo-Boz, as we've come to expect sometimes.
Yeah.
And so with that in mind, I think Geese Can Fly potentially a little bit favoured, but any team that has Epos in it, it's always hard to count it out.
Do you think that we'll see any, I want to call them breaks of serve, right? We have the map picks. Do you think it goes, one team wins their pick, the other team wins their pick, and we get to a 2-2 scenario? Or do you see a break of serve and a comeback?
I think it's very hard to tell, because I think some of that will come down as well to why they're picking the maps where they pick them.
Sure.
Right? Because, for example, it'll be, I believe, Moonveil picking 2 and 3. Are they picking maps in 2 and 3 because they don't want to play them on 4 and 5? And they're like, oh, this is a map where we might lose anyway, and so let's just get it out of the way at map 2, and then we'll pick map 3 as a map that we're stronger on and try and carry that through into map 4 and 5, right? So it's very possible that we see that, as you say, kind of break of serve. But in this format where all 5 maps will be picked for somewhere in the order anyway, I think it's much less relevant as to which team actually picks it in which order, because your reasons for picking a map in a certain position are going to change based on which team it is as to why they've picked it there.
Well, we are into the pick and ban now. It is Geese Can Fly with the first one. They have picked It's Soccer Not Football. I think they picked that one first in their previous 2 matches, I want to say, at least once. And now we go into the 2 picks for Moonveil. I'm expecting to see Peak here.
Okay.
I feel like Epos was okay. Never mind.
Flower of
I'm
the
wrong.
ground.
I'm wrong. It is
Yeah.
Wildfire and
I mean,
Flower of the Ground.
hey,
That's an Epos map, to be fair. Flower of the Ground yesterday. Epos looked insane on that.
Yes, they are still the only team who kind of continually pick it early on as well. And you could see it. I mean, those picks were rapid, kind of from both sides once we got into it as well there. They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were going to be playing going into it. Wouldn't be shocked to hear that they, talked about it beforehand as well. And both teams knew exactly what the other team was going to be picking where. But, hey, who knows, as we will get ready to roll on into this first match. And it is going to be interesting, kicking things off on It's Soccer Not Football. We saw in our last match as well that as a first track, that 360 is a little bit tough sometimes. I mean, getting into the swing of things on that match can be difficult, but it's also definitely possible. We saw Key look absolutely incredible to kick things off on that map.
Yeah, interesting actually that Geese Can Fly have picked that map, because we talked about yesterday, Epos and Divino both actually looked like they had those 360 maps nailed.
Yeah.
Which is why I thought that they would be the ones to actually, pick that map. It's obviously been picked already, but yeah, we saw like that clutch round from Divino on that no grip. Epos holding to push, got that 360 perfect, got that final ace, got the map win. So we'll see how they do on the 360s, because while the map is difficult overall, it does seem like that is the point where majority of the rounds are decided on those maps, right?
Yep. Absolutely. We'll wait and see once we get into it how they kind of do on it as well. I think a map where Boz was definitely looking comfortable as well, and obviously Jadon had just a strong day yesterday in general, but I think this map of all of their maps was definitely one where Boz was looking like the clear leader of the two in that sense, and kind of pace-wise, consistency-wise, Boz was looking very, very good on It's Soccer Not Football.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they've picked it first, I suppose. But, I mean, all the players look pretty calm right now, pretty locked in.
Relaxed.
See what it's like when we get to the end?
Yeah. A little bit more emotion on those faces potentially once we get towards the end of the match, expecting relief from one of these teams and the knowledge of having to go down into a lower bracket that is full of still some very good teams. Of course, that will be continuing later on in the day, but for now, we're getting ready to start with the upper bracket. We're heading to Wildfire first, where Geese Can Fly are looking to take on Moonveil for a spot in the grand finals of Trent on Track.
Yeah, and a couple people have said this feels like it could be the pre-grand final. We could end up with both of these teams in that grand final. See what happens, Nua.
Absolutely. Well, early on in round one, no quick mistakes have been made by anyone, and to be honest, you wouldn't be expecting them in a match like this anyway, as Epos is alongside both Jadon and Boz early on in the round, but Divino is keeping close, although it was all up until the bug slide. Divino has put the car in the wall there, and it's up to Epos to try and limit that damage, as he has done so successfully for this team throughout the tournament.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was expecting to see. Epos out the front, pushing hard, being challenged by Jadon and Boz in any order. Jadon right now ahead of Boz by just over a tenth. Epos holding firm, but who gets the 360 best? Epos had good exit speed there and does look to be securing the draw. Just needs to make that finish. 54.1, 3/10 off world record. Great round from Epos there to deny Geese Can Fly getting those points above them.
Yep, unfortunately quick pause there as Divino not only bug slid into the wall, but appears to have completely disappeared from the server for the moment as well. So hopefully should get back in very quickly, and hopefully that didn't actually affect the round as well. Of course, that is how it works as well. Epos finishing in first, and then the two team cars from the other team finishing behind. Even if there is a DNF after that, it is still a draw. The scores work out that way anyway. So. Hopefully that's how it would have gone anyway in the rest of the round. No way of knowing. But we'll see what the issue is. We'll get sorted hopefully quite quickly and get on back into the game here. Just hyping it up a little bit more,
Just giving us a teaser.
That
like
tension out. Never mind, we're back. No more hype. No more hype. We're back in. Let's go.
Okay, round two. Yeah, Epos did everything that he needed to do in the first round, but Divino's going to have to do a little bit more here to try and back his teammate up and just make sure that Epos doesn't have to push every round. I feel like that's Epos' strength. Even if he doesn't, like we've seen before where players have crashed, Epos is still driven like within 2/10 of world record. That's just the way that he drives, the way that he thrives in the game. So we'll see if we continue to see that, although there is a bit of a slowdown there from Epos. Divino now has it all to do being hounded by Jadon and Bozbez. Jadon does get the overtake done, and Boz right behind. Epos still in it, the mistake not too costly, so we'll see how the end of the round pans out.
Yeah, Epos is quick on that outside dirt, but unfortunately Divino has lost a little bit of speed. We're heading in to the 360 with Divino in fourth. Epos with a good turn, but good speed from Jadon, good speed from Boz, good speed from Divino as well. It's everyone at the line, and it'll end in a draw. Jadon takes the round win, and Boz was right there as well.
But that's a solid round from Divino as well. Like we were talking about, can he put the rounds together? I was speaking to Padster and I said, do you think Divino can match Bozbez and Jadon on pace if he doesn't crash? Case in point there, yes he can.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a very loud command from Epos on stage there, I think, because a little bit frustrated. Yeah, you drive a great round, both of you are up there, and it's just a draw. It's still just 2-2, and we're in to this bug slide, and for 3 rounds, Divino has kind of had issues there on 2 of them, which yesterday that bug slide was really working for him. He was really getting a lot of pace and making up a lot of ground through that corner in particular. It's not quite working out here in the upper bracket finals just yet, but what is working is Epos's pace, still holding the lead just in front of Boz for the time being. A little bit wide on the exit there, but still holding his speed and holding his line. A very quick entry from Epos, great speed out of it from Jadon. Is Boz catching as well? Not quite. Jadon will pick up the round win. Epos will take second, and it is a round win for Geese Can Fly and a lead for the first time in the match.
Yeah, Epos was holding the lead there as best as he could, but just got to that 360 and lost a little bit of speed. Jadon overtaking. I have to say, I have to highlight Geese Can Fly. I think Jadon has finished ahead of Boz in every round so far. Like, we're talking about Boz as the talisman, but Jadon right now is the one that it seems to be putting the most pressure on Epos.
Yeah, absolutely. Had a great day yesterday, continuing that here. Unfortunately, Divino not having a great time of it on this track so far. A shame, given how well he drove on the track yesterday, but is now sitting 9/10 behind. Jadon is going to start slipping down a little bit for the first time, 3/10 behind the lead, so it is up to Boz to apply that pressure on the front instead. I mean, doing a great job. Boz leading at the moment from Epos, who does go again, both of them for that regrip line on the inside, ending up very wide here. Boz forced to come in, nearly touching the wall, may have touched the wall, and dropping behind Epos into the 360.
How many times have we seen this? Boz and Epos neck and neck. Epos did eke out a little bit of a lead. Boz has to release, and once again, Epos wins the round 54-0, 2/10 off world record. Great time there from Epos, keeping his team in it, you have to say. Divino, the mistakes are starting to creep in. Put together that one solid round, but is not doing it consistently enough. Bozbez and Jadon have looked almost infallible so far, and they're putting the pressure on Epos, forcing him to drive those insane times just to keep Moonveil in it. They're still down. They're 5-4 down at the moment. It's a thin gap, but if Epos makes a mistake, one mistake,
yep,
I think it's an ace straight away.
Oh, there's a touch from Divino again. It's not the worst place in the world to do it as long as he survives the bug slide, and it looked like he has dropped down now though by about 8/10. And Boz is going to touch on the inside, and Jadon's going to crash as well, and this is a chance all of a sudden as Divino should be catching, is still behind Boz, but the gap only a few tenths instead of the full second that it was up until this point off the track. Epos is gone in the distance. Boz with a slow exit from the outside dirt as well, and so Divino draws alongside into the 360, looking for a good exit here, should have good speed, but Boz has pulled that gap out to a car length. Boz will hold on for second place, but it is a round win for Moonveil, and that is going to be a tied match.
Tied up at 6-6, Nua. That is juicy. We could get a draw here and go on to a double track point, but yeah, Divino there just wasn't quite close enough to Epos to back him up when both Geese Can Fly players made a mistake. It's very rare that you'll see that in a round, I feel, and an opportunity to capitalize. They did somewhat, got that victory, but the ace is so powerful that if you have the chance, you have to take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this time around, I mean, Divino is a lot closer along, no mistakes just yet, and it is, as I think someone described it yesterday, playing with the ultimate safety blanket in Epos. Has really been doing a great job of just locking in those round wins, making sure that Geese Can Fly couldn't get away from Moonveil, and now, with a round where all 4 players have kept it clean so far, there's a chance for either team to put themselves in position to win it from here. Boz leads from Epos and Divino, but again, Boz's line through that corner does just have him no-sliding out just a little bit earlier and trying to lose a little bit of speed off it. Boz with a slow 360. Epos and Divino are through, and that should be an ace. That's Moonveil going through. They nearly clip, and Jadon nearly caught, but not quite. And Moonveil move up to 9, and all of a sudden, this is looking very comfortable.
That's what you need from Divino. Another solid round, and it results in an ace straight away onto track point on Geese Can Fly's pick.
Yeah.
It's exactly what they need to be doing more often. If Davigno is able to drive those rounds, he was only 100th behind Epos. The pace is there. Just needs to avoid those mistakes. That line for Boz as well,
Yeah.
I can't see if he's clipping. It almost looks like he's clipping where he's getting such a slowdown, but I don't know if it's a gear or just a nose slide.
I think he's just going for the full grip very early on that dirt, but it is resulting in him kind of having a slow exit as a result. We'll keep an eye on it, see exactly what he's doing, and then someone who's better than us at the game can explain it to us in detail later on as well. But for now, again, Boz leads the way, and again, holding the lead, this time around a lot quicker through the exit, and so it is Boz from Epos and Davigno. Can they do it again? They just need one car in the top two. Both of them overtake Boz through the 360. They are wheel to wheel as they cross the line, 6,000ths between them. We asked if Davigno could get it done, and the answer is emphatically yes.
Can he do it on a cold, wet night in Stoke?
Yeah.
Yes, he can.
Yes,
he can. Absolutely. Moonveil 1-0 up. Did you expect this? I thought that Geese Can Fly would be able to do it on their pick.
Yeah,
100%.
I kind of figured that on map 1, you know, as much as we're talking about, like, oh, teams might have different reasons for picking maps at different times, absolutely, I think when you're picking first pick, you pick something you're comfortable on that you think you can win and start the match off right. And so you would have thought, yeah, like, Geese Can Fly. You'd be kind of hoping that with whichever map they went first, they would be walking away with the win on it. Of course, nice to win any map, but in particular, you're right. That first map pick, the one that they chose to start the match off on, the one that sets the tone for the rest of the match that they selected, to lose on that is a little bit tough.
Yeah, especially considering with the format that we've got, it's not back and forth. Like,
yes.
We now have 2 picks
Yeah.
for
Moonveil.
Thank you, for Moonveil. And they're 1-0 up. They look good. Davigno looks good half of the time, maybe 75% of the time, and then we really start considering seriously that could it be 3-0?
Yeah, I mean,
Could
hey,
it really?
I'm going to start to, you know, the thoughts will creep into your head. It's only been one map.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's definitely not there yet. But, I mean, you're right. At some point, those thoughts are going to start to creep in, especially if Moonveil can do well on Wildfire, which is a track that we've been seeing a lot near the top of the order as well. And after this, we go to a Flower of the Garden, and that's going to be interesting, given that it doesn't get picked near the top of the order very often. But let's keep it on Wildfire for the moment. We are keeping our eyes on the back half of this track in particular. We saw incredibly exciting rounds in our last match between Evo and Split on this one. Let's hope that this match can deliver as effectively as Moonveil look to go up 2-0 on the match. Geese Can Fly will look to try and catch up a little bit, equalize the map score, and it'll be a little bit difficult, especially if the match doesn't start.
Yeah, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like this was the map yesterday that looked most like Boz's Kryptonite. This was the one he struggled on the most.
Yes, I think so.
And, I mean, I can't really remember Moonveil playing this. Maybe that's a good thing, because I feel like I would remember if they made a lot of mistakes. So the fact that I'm remembering Boz making mistakes and Moonveil not so much, you know, by a process of psychological elimination, I'm favouring Moonveil.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think, looking at it, actually, because the map that Geese Can Fly did lose yesterday to Evo was Perfect Blue.
Okay.
Which Evo look fantastic on, basically at all times. And that was the map that they struggled, I think. Again, hard to say maybe even that, you know, they struggled on Perfect Blue as a team. Did Geese Can Fly? Maybe just Evo were playing very, very well on the map. Wildfire's fine. It's going to be okay. I'm hoping, again, it's those close rounds, and it's kind of seeing if Boz can get dialed in, because I think, unfortunately, it is Boz having some tech issues on stage at the moment. Hopefully not going to be too rattled by them. Hopefully not going to be upset to the point that it affects his driving.
Yeah, I mean, he'd still put together some great rounds, right?
Yeah.
Just looked like he was maybe struggling with that dirt downhill, and also the 360 was losing. I think especially the last 2 rounds, or the 2 rounds that that Moonveil aced, Boz was ahead and then dropped about 2 tenths behind.
Yeah.
And so potentially just struggling a little bit there, although, you know, non-360 map. Non-360 map could be good.
Yeah. Could work out well. Well, we should be getting ready to go now, as we will be resuming match. Players are ready to go, and we are on to Wildfire, our second map of this best of 5. Moonveil holding a maybe slightly surprising 1-0 lead after map 1. And Geese Can Fly. Which of them can start to lead the bounce back? Which of them has a comeback in them? In this round, unlikely to be Jadon.
Yep, Jadon clips the outside dirt at the start, as we've seen so many players do. Boz going very close to the outside there, but does thread the needle, stays in front for the time being. A 10th up on Epos and Davigno, who are inseparable so far this round on pace. Boz over the plastic, goes for that inside line. Epos inside, drifts wide. And Epos now eking out a slight lead over Divino. They're not able to catch Boz yet. Slightly different lines and Boz carrying slightly more speed. They're reeling him in, Nua. And now we get to the all-important jump here. Is anyone going to fail it? Boz very close. Epos does get the overtake. Can Epos hold on here and get the victory?
All about this following jump then. How far left do you go? Boz is going to land straight. Epos, though, should have the gap, and it will be Epos winning round 1. 56.8 is the time. That is blisteringly quick, and Boz was less than a tenth behind as well. Divino only a couple of tenths back as well, and I think you'd have to say Jadon's pace is probably there if there's no crash as well. This is going to be a great map.
Yep, that is a 10th off world record that was set this morning by Josh, so probably a day ago that probably would have been good enough for world record. We have lost another player in Jadon at exactly the same spot that he crashed in the previous round. Boz leading once again. This time Divino with a mistake though allows Jadon to come back into third place. Not really within touching distance, and it is going to be a fight to the end between Boz and Epos.
I suppose this is it. How hard do you push as Epos? I mean, you'd imagine pretty hard. Trying to catch for that first place would be nice, but it's not going to be easy. Boz leading into this corner again. Very similar lines this time around, where Boz went slightly wider on that drift in the previous round. And so it'll be very similar speed for both of them into this jump. Boz landing a little bit quicker, Boz landing a little bit smoother, managing to extend that lead ever so slightly around the final couple of corners. Jumps very far left, and so the lead will get even bigger. 2.5 tenths and a PB for Boz, as he does half a tenth better than Epos's time from the previous round.
Yeah, it's like, you can drive within a tenth of world record, I can drive within a tenth of world record. Like, you know,
Yep.
Boz really likes to prove that he's better than people, doesn't he?
Well, hey, don't we all? That was great. That was a really fast round from Bozbez, and being able to drive that time at all, very impressive. To be able to do it the round after you lost to a really quick time from Epos, very impressive as well. This time around, Jadon has survived at least a little bit longer. Can he continue to survive? Nope. He's going to put it into the wall on that transition, not able to get up onto the sausage block, and so it's up to Boz to deny on this round. And a potential chance for a round win for Moonveil to regain that lead that they lost on the previous round.
Yeah, Jadon really not looking comfortable on this map. Did not look great yesterday, was consistently half a tenth behind Boz according to their median times. And Jadon another 5 seconds back in this round. Epos driving insanely quickly up front. Boz doing his best to catch, but it does look insurmountable. It is the Boz and Epos show so far. Divino and Jadon, try as they might, are just unable to stay on pace. What is this time going to be from Epos? Another 56.8. Ridiculous. This is exactly what we expect from these kind of players.
Yeah, that's 3 thousandths behind Boz's time from the previous round. So Boz still holding the match record here on Wildfire for fastest time, but it is very close, as it won't be Boz on this round. That is an early touch on the inside wall, just a momentary lapse in the concentration. Does lead to, again, a chance for Moonveil to pick up big points in this round. Jadon has not really been able to show his pace so far on the map. The mistakes costing him too dearly. This time around, I think a little bit bitten by that transition. Lost a lot of speed in taking it safe, and that has allowed Divino and Epos up into a clear 1-2.
I feel like all Jadon can really hope to do here is beat Divino, but Divino driving an insane time at the moment. I mean, if Epos's pace is to be believed, like on those 56.8s, Divino is driving a very similar time right now. Jadon is trying his best to catch up. This is definitely his best round so far. He is within touching distance, and a good end might be able to get Divino. He's just closing up to the back of him. Can he get the speed through the final couple of turns? Divino jumps slightly lower, and Divino sails off into the distance.
Hang on, he's not finished. He's not finished. Where's Boz? This could still be a draw. Divino has still not crossed the finish line and will ultimately get sniped by Boz, who takes third, and that's a draw. Moonveil do hold on to their lead, but they are not able to extend.
No, I feel like that was a golden opportunity. I think Jadon just about had Divino there. Divino with a slightly wobbly line at the end. Could have got the victory. It's 1 point less that they aren't able to convert.
They'd have been on track point.
They would have done.
Could have been relevant.
It's been so close, though. I don't think we haven't seen an ace so far, have we?
No. But hey, this round, I'm calling it now. Watch, because Divino is up against Bozbez and Jadon at the moment. Epos has pulled out a bit of a gap this time around, looking quick on the round. Boz has survived. Jadon has survived, and we saw when Jadon survives this section of track, he started to make a very good push towards the back of both Divino and Epos. Can he get it done again on this round?
That will remain to be seen. We've got about 2 tenths between Epos and Divino and Boz, and then another 2 tenths back. Jaden bringing up the rear. Jaden is pushing though. He might be able to get Divino here if Divino is not able to hold his nerve on the end. Boz has great speed. Jaden has great speed. Oh, Epos with a mistake. Does he get the ace here?
Oh
yes, he does. What a snipe from Jaden.
I told you, once we get to that plastic jump, Jadon in the previous round was quick. Jadon in this round again was quick, gaining about 2 tenths on everyone else. And then, of course, the mistake from Epos and Divino just losing speed in the end. That's an ace. That's Geese Can Fly moving to track point themselves and flipping this match a little bit on its head out of nowhere.
Yeah, and that missed track point from Moonveil now is all the more painful, given that ace from Geese Can Fly, 8-6. They don't even need the ace at this point. 2 draws. Divino with a mistake as well. Epos can win this round if he wants to, but it will just put Geese Can Fly 1 point further ahead, and then they will return serve if they are able to convert the map.
Yep. All right, time for Boz to push, time for Jadon to just sit. You take your 2nd place here, you guarantee that you're fine, you're moving up a point. Jadon can just kind of safe it a little bit, but can Boz catch Epos? The gap is extended for the moment. It'll come down to this transition. How much speed do they go? Boz goes so far left on the jump, and Epos has lost a little bit of speed through the dirt just there. It's not a huge amount, and he continues to hold the lead. Boz is going to go so far left on his jump as well, but Epos is he's hit the line. He's been sniped. It's done. It's over.
Oh my, Epos just hitting the line there. Boz manages to get the snipe. It's only 0.5 tenth, but it's enough. And now Geese Can Fly tie the series up. We were talking, the narrative that we were peddling was
we were ready to go for a 9-7.
Yeah. Well, I was more saying that we were thinking Moonveil would take the map quite easily, 2-0 up in the series, but Geese Can Fly hold on in emphatic fashion, Nua.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hey, it gets dramatic here. That was unfortunate. I mean, we saw similar things even in match 1 today. You know, Josh kind of having a similar issue on the finish line and getting sniped by Kozzer in a very similar fashion. Unfortunate for it to happen in that round where, you know, the loss instantly ends the map as well. No chance at redemption. No chance to kind of put things right in the next round by getting it right on the finish line. Instead, you have to get things right on the next map. And we are moving again to a Flower of the Ground, a map that basically no other team has been picking in the top 3 except for Moonveil, who have consistently picked it at position 3 when they're able to.
And I mean, Epos looks to be, I would say, the best player out of anyone we've seen so far on this map. And I would say Divino has been looking reasonably consistent as well. Like, he's been backing him up. Like, we talked about that regrip line as well.
Yep.
I would say if there's a map where Divino looks more comfortable, it's this one. There's no tricks, there's no gimmicks, there's no anything like that. It is just a classic mixed comp map. I mean, there's the reactor sections, but they're not too difficult. They're not kind of like the 360 kind of trick or the quarter pipe, you know?
Yeah, and this was where things started to go well for Moonveil yesterday after they dropped map 1 to Wolves. They played a Flower of the Ground second, they took it there, and then they just went on to win the rest of the maps as well. They were looking very solid in that one. Can they get it done again? Can this move them onto match point as well? That's a clip from Epos, and it's not the worst place in the world for it to happen with the reactor. He's not going to lose a huge amount of time, but it is enough to leave Bozbez and Jadon in clean air out front.
Yeah, I guess we also talk about Jadon didn't have the best map on Wildfire, but is now right behind Boz as they are 1 and 2 ace formation. As we see Divino go for that alternative line. Seems pretty equal with his teammate, but does clip on the outside there and just allow Boz and Jadon to extend their lead. Epos try as he might. I don't think he's going to be able to get both of them. Might be able to get one, but neither of them slowing down there in that section. Just a couple of corners to go. We haven't seen too many players crash here, only a couple of mistakes, but they do make it in ace formation. Boz and Jadon 3-0.
Yeah, exactly the start they'd be looking for on that one. I mean, a little bit, you don't want to call it lucky, as we coined yesterday as well. The more consistent you are, the luckier you get in Trackmania. But to have Epos crash round 1 to Divino behind as well, then to be able to start any map with an ace against Moonveil, it's not a guarantee, and it's definitely going to be leaving Geese Can Fly feeling pretty good about how this is starting.
Yeah, and I mean, this match now feels wide open.
Yes.
I would argue. Like, we talked about it before. We said, like, if they win their own picks, they've won each other's picks. And that always screams to me that there's no clear favorite here. There's no team that's feeling completely comfortable on the maps that they've picked that they would necessarily think that they would be feeling comfortable on. So I feel like it's wide open, can go any way. I want it to go all the way, personally.
Yeah. Well, might not go too much longer. If Geese Can Fly can find a way to turn this into a second ace, But Davino and Epos are both right here, and Boz is leading for the moment, but looking for exit speed as Epos managing to sneak up past Jadon. Davino sits in second at the moment as well. Wide line from Epos, and Jadon then is looking to snipe Davino as well. Davino holding on, will take second place, and it will be a round win. Geese can fly. 5 points from 2 rounds is an unbelievable start on a flower of the ground for them against Moonveil.
Ace and a victory. I have to highlight Davino there. Drove a great round, was in contention with Boz. We've been talking about him as kind of like, you know, not necessarily being on pace. Has shown on, I would say, about half the rounds he's driven. He can drive that fast pace and has kind of bailed Epos out there. It's a bit of a role reversal to what we've been seeing most of the time. But on this occasion, has just slightly clipped there, does find himself about half a second adrift, and once again, it's down to Epos to try and beat Jadon and Boz. Epos currently fighting with Jadon up the front, separated by less than a tenth.
Less than a tenth, exactly a tenth at the moment through that last checkpoint. It has extended slightly, but not by much, and Epos is going to lose a lot of that ground. Good speed from the exit of that reactor grass section. So Epos continues to hold. Boz sitting in a comfortable third place as well at the moment. Behind as Epos is going to touch on the outside. Jadon moves through it first. Epos does get the speed back, but Boz is closing in. Can Epos hold on to second? Is this another ace potentially for Geese Can Fly? It doesn't look it, as Epos will at least hold on to second, but another round win means after 3 rounds, Geese Can Fly are already on track point.
Yeah, this map really feels like it's gotten away from Moonveil before they can really get a hold of anything. Geese Can Fly on track point now, 7-2. Moonveil would need, what, back-to-back aces, and while Epos has been driving fast, he has been making mistakes here.
Yeah, I'm feeling a lot of pressure from Boz in particular, but it is that double threat of Geese Can Fly. I mean, Jadon or Boz are both fully capable of having rounds that make Epos nervous, that are going to be right behind him and force him to do these push lines that result in the potential small errors and lose time. This time around, Epos is leading and has a tiny bit of breathing room behind. Again, it's about a tenth behind from Epos to Boz and to Jadon, as that's going to be a touch on the outside. Davino losing speed on track, and Epos just trying to keep the track alive at this point, because a mistake from Epos now, and it is over.
Yep, it would be all over if Epos were to make a mistake, but just has to try and secure the draw here. I mean, Geese Can Fly will take that all day. Moving on to 8-3. Epos is driving a banger time here, I think. But yeah, Davino with that mistake a bit further behind. I guess when you're in fourth like that, all you can do is push. You know, you're 7-2 down. You just have to kind of fully send it, and the mistake comes through. He ends up where he probably would have ended up anyway had he just driven safely. Yeah,
that is potentially the unfortunate truth of it, but we're in do or die territory now for Moonveil. They do need to get it done, and getting it done in this case means an ace or nothing. I mean, sure, they can afford 1 round win or 1 draw before Geese Can Fly can win the track, but we really are in the position where they do need to start putting points on the board. And this is a good start to the round for that. Davino sits in second, just behind Epos at the moment.
Yep, 1 and 2 right now. This is perfect for them so far, but they do have Jadon and Boz breathing down their neck. Jadon getting the overtake done on the outside dirt, does take a little bit of a wider line, carries more speed through. Davino disappears off to the right, but comes straight back, carries great speed through as well. Currently ahead of Boz and Jadon. So much pressure though, great drift line. Needs to maintain the speed through here as well. He's right behind. I think Boz has slightly more speed, just gets the overtake done. It's going to go right down to the line. Boz with the better ending. Can Davino get past? It's a bit wobbly. Jadon gets him as well. It is a draw, 9-4. Geese Can Fly only 1 point away now.
Yeah, Davino is having to drive corrective lines towards the end there. I think may have had a slight touch on the wall while on the grass, and from there was just trying to find a way back onto the correct line desperately. Unfortunately lost about 4.5 tenths, unfortunately dropped behind Jadon, and that is the 1 draw that Moonveil could afford on this map. They now need 2 aces in a row. Nothing else wins it for them, and if they can't find that, which is looking unlikely, if they can't find that, well, it does mean that Geese Can Fly are the team that move to overall match point quicker. They will have those 2 map wins, and all of a sudden Geese Can Fly will be very close to booking their spot in that grand final.
Yep, this round not over until it's over, but Davino with a mistake putting him a second behind. Does look like at least the draw will come through if Epos is able to maintain first place, but that will be enough for Geese Can Fly to go 2-1 up in the series, go on to match point, and more importantly, go back onto their own map pick.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, their own map pick, the two that were remaining for them, absolutely. But it is the one that they chose from that two, and they will get a player into the top two. It will be Geese Can Fly managing to win. Sigh of relief coming through there for Jadon as well, as they do get it done in fairly emphatic fashion on a map that, you know, I think we have seen look very good for Moonveil repeatedly in the tournament so far.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference from maps 2 to 3 was probably Jadon fixing his mistakes.
Yes,
I feel like that was the door that opened that then allowed Moonveil to take advantage and get that map secured.
Yes,
because
Geese Can Fly to take advantage and get the map secured. Or sorry, on what you're saying, yes, Jadon
yes, on Wildfire. Jadon making mistakes on Wildfire. No. Jadon making mistakes on Wildfire allowed Moonveil to take that map. Jadon looked consistent again on Flower of the Ground, and I think that has then put Geese Can Fly back on top. We do go onto their map pick now, which is Peak as our fourth and potentially final map. Nua, what do you think? Do you think we're going to a map 5 here, or do you think they get it wrapped up in 4?
I don't know. I'm really hoping we get, like, hey, maybe it's a little bit unfair to Geese Can Fly to be like, God, I hope they lose this map, but God, I hope they lose this map.
I mean, yeah, just looking at the times, Epos 2 hours ago drove the second best time.
Yeah.
On the online leaderboards. Jadon as well, improving his own personal best, but 2/10 shy of Epos. I don't have a time for... Oh, I do have a time for Boz. 50.6. So Boz is quite far behind on the online map. I mean, quite far behind. 4/10. It's that. But potentially practicing the part maps. We don't know. We can speculate and guess all we want, but what we do want to see is some exciting on-track action. So we go into map number 4. Geese Can Fly looking to wrap it up here.
Yeah. And Divino crashing early on in the round is going to help with that goal. Can Epos get it done out the front? A question we've asked repeatedly and one he has often answered with a yes. But when the 360s get involved, when tricks get thrown in, things get a little bit less clear-cut potentially. At the moment, Epos does just about hold on to the slimmest of leads, but Jadon and Balls are both right here to take advantage if anything goes wrong on the 360. Epos in the lead, trying to hold on to it. Good exit speed from Jadon. Better than Epos, better than Boz, and it means Jadon versus Epos is the battle for first place around the final couple of corners. Tech turn into that ending, and it is better from Jadon. It'll be a round win for Jadon. Epos takes second, and Geese Can Fly start things off with a win and take a lead early.
I was about to start thinking that was a great end from Jadon, and then he almost sent it straight into the finish block. But does manage to make the finish, and only 2.5 off world record, so driving a great time there, fends off Epos, and puts Geese Can Fly 1 point to the better over Moonveil. Divino with that early mistake, allowing the advantage to be taken by Geese Can Fly. Pretty even start to this match though, as we go through the first couple of turns here. Nobody making a mistake just yet. Epos with a slender lead, but Divino better drift there, moves into I say first place. It's changing all the time. They're so close, Nua.
Absolutely, and I mean, it is all about the speed out of this 360 as well, especially when everyone is as close as they are on this one. Jadon, the big winner last time around on this one. Boz, good exit. Divino very close to the outside of the wall there. Don't see Jadon anywhere. I think dropping behind on the exit from that. Epos trying to catch Boz and go so wide on this dirt. Going to carry great speed towards the finish line. Jumping further right, but not able to catch as Boz sets an online PB in that round. And Epos and Divino sit second and third, unable to regain that point that they fell behind on round 1. They sit still a point behind, but a really good round from both of them.
Yeah, I was wondering, that online PB from Boz was a bit questionable and beats it by 0.15 there. So I think either practicing offline or on those part maps. Great time from him, secures the draw and keeps the deficit at only 1 point.
Yeah, looking good for him. I mean, again, there's an element as well of if Divino can keep it together, even if you're a couple of tenths down like this, if you get to the Ice 360 on this map and just send it, there's always the chance that you're going to get the ace on this map. Definitely a little bit of a gamble to be taken, and so we'll see as Divino is within touching distance. All 4 players enter the Ice 360 and only 3 players exit as Boz has slid out completely on that one, and Divino is trying to catch Jadon as well towards the line. Ace potential still here for Moonveil, so wide on the exit. Divino not quite able to catch at the finish line as Jadon holds on to second place, but the match is tied.
Match is tied, but it is Moonveil with a victory there. Epos driving a 0.5 of his own after Boz did it in the previous round, as we've seen so many times, these players just trading top times. Nobody quite pushing that world record, but I feel like if you're within 2/10 of it, you're probably going to end up winning the round, and it seems like Epos and Boz are the ones to do that at the moment. Divino, only 4% top ones at the moment. I'd be interested to see the stats for Epos and Boz and Jaden as well, just to kind of see who like the dominant player on either side is. Epos 50%, so he has won half the rounds out of all 4 players. It's quite telling.
That's pretty good. Absolutely. This time around, though, Epos is behind by a little bit. Now, look, on this map in particular, half a second down is not maybe as bad as it might be on some of the other maps, because we've got a nice 360 coming up, and Jadon leads the way into a Divino just behind Boz, slid out fully on the last round. This time around, keeping it clean, and it's Divino's touch. Jadon, I think, touches on the outside as well, and so Divino and Epos move through into second and third place. Boz leads the way and should win the round, barring any major mistakes at the finish line. There won't be any, and it will be a draw. We remain tied at 5-5.
Yeah, I have to say, could have, should have been an ace, really.
Yeah.
One mistake there, and that's all it took. So 5-5, still all tied up. It's getting so close, isn't it, Nua? Like, yeah. Moonveil at this point, they really need an ace. They need that one round from Divino coupled with the mistake from Geese Can Fly just to put them 8-5. I feel like if they can ace here, puts them in pole position. Although Divino makes another mistake, Epos is going to have to try and secure the draw once again.
Yeah, Jadon also is still there. I thought the time didn't change between checkpoints, and I was like, oh, is he down track somewhere? No, he was just hiding inside the other 2 cars as well. All 3 of them so close together on this one. Divino with another mistake has fallen further behind. That is going to be Boz going into the wall just before the Ice 360. Epos so high on that line has slid out as a result, goes backwards into the wall. Bozbez through into second place. His mistake not costly, and that does mean there is an ace for one of the teams on this round. It's not going to be the team in red. Geese Can Fly put themselves onto track point. They put themselves onto match point. They put themselves on the doorstep of the grand final.
Yeah, it feels like it could be close. I mean, I said we needed an ace for Moonveil in the previous round.
Yes.
This one even more so.
Yeah. Because
they now sit 8-5. All Geese Can Fly would do at this point 2 aces. If Divino continues to, 2 draws. If Divino continues to make the mistake, Epos wins the round.
It's fine.
Twice in a row, and then Geese Can Fly take the match. So, yeah, I think it's going to need that step up from Divino. We saw it from him yesterday, needs to produce it again here.
Yep, absolutely right. Epos does not lead the round at the moment. Jadon technically in front for the moment, but again, nothing to separate them as we round the first half of the map and get ourselves ready for a nice 360. As it is Epos and Jadon entering together. Epos much lower on the line this time around, but still nearly slides out. No speed from Epos. Boz moving through into second place, and it'll need to be a hell of a drift to catch up. 3/10 for Epos to Jadon at the moment. He's not going to be able to do
he's done it.
But Boz has missed.
Divino?
Boz has missed, and Divino is there, and that means it's a draw. That means we survive, and Divino, I think, kind of almost forgot about him. I feel bad saying it, but was a factor in that round. Had not dropped as far behind as in previous rounds, and so was able to get it done when Boz faltered.
He was a second back, but must have got such a clean 360 compared to Epos and Boz, and has enabled them to hold on here. So for the 3rd round in a row now, Moonveil need the ace. Divino doesn't have the best start, though. He's already 0.3 behind as we go through the 3rd checkpoint. Is going to need the absolute pinnacle of Ice 360s if he wants to get Jadon and Bozbez, and pray that they make a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, the pushing is great from Divino, though. Has clawed a little bit of that lead back. It looked like, nope, he's actually fallen further behind. Never mind. We'll need the 360 of all 360s on this one. It's looking good, but Epos has lost ground to Jadon and Boz instead. That's Jadon in the wall, though. It's all up to Boz. Needs to hold on to this top 2. Divino going to try and catch. Epos is going to catch, but Boz will hold on for 2nd place. Pick up the 1 point they needed. You can see a shake of the head from Boz. He knows how close that got at the end.
Yeah, Boz there just losing speed on the exit. Did it in the previous round, but this time did not prove nearly as costly. Geese Can Fly, what a match. They do come out victorious, but I feel like that could have gone either way. Either team winning on each other's picks was just crazy to see. No team really looked comfortable. I would say there were times that obviously Boz and Epos looked comfortable, but as a team, the performances on either side just at times were that little bit shakier than what we were perhaps expecting. But it made for such an entertaining match.
And of course, this was upper bracket, so, Moonveil not out just yet. They will drop to the lower bracket, and we will be figuring out who they'll be playing shortly. We will watch the Wolves versus Evo match to figure out which team does face them in that lower bracket final. But it's going to be exciting. I mean, I think, there's definitely potential still for Moonveil to make it back to a grand final as well. And there's potential for them to look very strong in doing so as well. I mean, Divino did have some excellent rounds. The pace is absolutely there. It was just errors and consistency were a little bit costly, unfortunately.
Yeah, which is kind of how we've been talking about this team all weekend, right? It just needs to be that step up. Pace is there, just needs to be driven more consistently. We saw it in the stats. Epos drove, 50% top one, which is, I mean, there were a couple of rounds after that, but Divino at that time was on 4.
Yeah.
So the share is heavily favoured in terms of Epos at the moment, which is what we'd expect. We just need Divino to kind of be there to support a bit more.
Yep.
But I would not be surprised to see them back in a grand final.
Nope, would not be surprised at all. And I'm not going to be surprised when we go over and see Jadon, who's standing by for an interview.
Hello everyone, yes, we're with Jadon of Geese Can Fly. Congrats on the victory over Moonveil. It looked a bit rocky at first, but you managed to pull out the bag. What's the mindset now after that match?
Well, I just think I need to clean up my crashes, quite crashy, especially on peak. And what was the first map again? Soccer, yeah, quite crashy on that as well. But if I can just clean that up, I think we'll be looking good. Because Boz was very good on Wildfire, very good, consistent, very nice teammate.
Yeah, obviously have the pick of the maps before we go into it. Is there much of a strategy that goes into that, or is it sort of based on the reaction? I'm guessing maybe not. It's more so just based off the feel in the moment.
We just random pick, see what happens.
Fair. I mean, obviously it came out to be that your map pick didn't go quite as well. There's a bit of choice words from Epos across the stage, not because I was on stream as such. Is there any sort of mentality now going into your, the grand final later, potentially going back up against Moonveil, potentially? Do you think there'll be a change them in the map picks there, or just try and go for more comfort?
I think we'll just randomly pick again, see what happens. The map order doesn't really matter, so just whatever.
Fair, I respect that. If you're saying there's a strategy to it, it's just based off feel, then absolutely. Obviously, you've got a little bit of a gap now until the grand finals. I'd be really interested to take your take on who you think is to be winning the next match between, obviously, Evo and Wolves. Both played earlier and looked pretty good. Who do you think will be going on to the lower bracket semi-final?
Oh, it's really hard to tell. I don't know. Because if Josh and Key, if they just don't crash, their pace is insane. So, it's luck of the draw. If they play good, then they'll win, but we'll see.
Fair. Well, that's enough from us on who we think is going to be going through to the actual grand finals, or the lower bracket finals. Chuck it over to the analyst desk and see what they have to say.
Yeah, despite that looking like one of the most stressful games so far, it seems like Geese Can Fly are heading into the grand finals based on nothing but vibes.
Yeah, of course, zero strategy with regard to their picks there. That's an interesting way of doing it, but I'm not going to criticise it. It seems to have worked for them, and hey, at the end of the day, they just need to win 3 maps. It doesn't really matter what order they turn up in.
It's interesting that they've admitted that there's no strategy to it.
Yeah, because their worst-looking map was their first map pick. It's just whatever. It seems to have worked out for them.
I think we lulled them into a false sense of security on the Lin map, to be honest, from yesterday. Because
why is it up to you?
Yeah, clearly, Boz world recording in rounds probably meant, hey, why not? Why don't we just pick this one? I think they have pace on every single map. That's the clearest thing, and so it's just a case of that situation. I do agree with Jadon. Map order doesn't really matter in a case when you know that you're going to be winning at least half the rounds if you don't crash. So those two put together, makes it really hard for another team to understand where can we win, because they've proven multiple times they have the pace for world record in rounds on every map. So what do you choose as their weak link? There kind of isn't one. Boz looked a bit iffy on peak yesterday, and today he's bashing out 0.5s every other round. So it becomes a real challenge when you're in that situation. I think it becomes a random, basically. You just pick what you want to play.
And I think that's the key difference between Moonveil and Geese Can Fly, right? There's no clear weakness so far that we've seen from Geese Can Fly outside of a bit of some messy rounds here and there, and just generally messy rounds here and there because of maybe tech issues or just again vibes. But whereas Moonveil, there's a clear case of if Divino's not like if Davina's feeling the pressure and Davina's not keeping up with that pace that Epos has set in almost every round, they're just not there. Moonveil just don't really have what it takes to topple the clear favourites.
I think it's hard to underestimate how hard it is to push 100% every round, which is when you're playing in a match like that, you're having to push 100% every round. And Vinky's put a lot of time into these maps, and he's way better than almost anyone else that's playing them. And so he's pushing 100%, and at that situation, the weird crashes come up. It's always the case. You always have an issue where you've never crashed in that place in a round before, and suddenly you're pushing 100%, it comes up. And he was really good yesterday at resetting if there was an issue and a crash and then coming again. And I have no doubt that he'll do that again going forward.
Well, they're going to want to hope to reset things because they're still not out of this tournament. They go down to the lower bracket finals where they'll meet the winner of Wolves and Evo. That's going to be a very interesting game. That's like, again, if Evo's got that pace, they're unstoppable.
Yeah, but I was seriously impressed by the step up between Wolves in their performance against Moonveil yesterday versus their performance against Good Focus today. It felt like night and day. Admittedly, Moonveil are stronger than Good Focus. It's a different caliber of opponent, but fundamentally, they just looked so good.
Yeah, sometimes pure pace can literally just be that one key thing, like consistency versus pace. Narratives we're going to keep on peddling, but yeah, we've got a bit of a longer break, give some players a bit of time to rest, relax, have some food, and once we're back, we've got a little bit of a giveaway segment, and then we're back for the lower bracket semi-finals.